down my boat!
Hello everyone and welcome to Canadian Redneck Channel. My name's Dave and today we're ready to start part 3 of our bathroom install. We're going to get down to the plumbing part now. I've already got a little bit of it started and I'll show you what I did. So I've got the hole cut in the floor for the flange to go into. Fits in nicely. I didn't videotape that part because I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do with that. I don't have a 7-inch hole saw and I didn't really find any available anywhere. So the hole kind of looks like it was cut with a hatchet and a torch, which is close. I used a skill saw, and the problem with that is there's no one here with a skill to run one. So anyway, I've got the hole in the floor for the flange. I'll screw it down and then we can start running our waste pipe for the toilet. When you're installing the flange, you got to be aware of where the notches are for the hold down bolts for the toilet. You want to make sure you get them squared up squarely across so that your toilet isn't sitting cockeyed in your bathroom. Because with the flange attached to the floor, the next step is to mount the toilet. And so, get the plumber's putty. They lay a ring of that around the flange for the wax gasket to seal against too. Next, you stick the wax gasket to the toilet bowl. And then carefully set the toilet and wax gasket onto the flange and meet the flange up, or the flange on the gasket to the floor flange. Excellent. With the toilet installed, I had to build a little section of wall here so that we could locate our vanity. Because it's gonna, the vanity's gonna fit right against the wall, so I had to get that all in place because I gotta nail down with the gooseneck on where the pipe is gonna go down through the bottom of the cabinet and thus through the floor. So I wanted that all in place so I could get some measurements. So it's time to put the hardware in the sink. Start with a little rim of player's putty around the bottom of the pipe stem here. Now it's time to set up our gooseneck, and we start off with this attaching flange. It has a rubber compression washer in here so that when you tighten it on the pipe, it tightens the pipe, your waste pipe to the drain pipe of the sink. There we go. So there's the drain pipe, and then the gooseneck. And in between, gooseneck goes this way, in between we'll need a little attaching piece of PVC pipe. I'm going to make sure that all the surfaces here are clean. And this is new gooseneck. We have to glue it together also. So we get those pieces stuck. Now this glue is pretty wicked stuff. You want some good ventilation when you're working with that. I just cracked a window here. I'm not going to be using much, so I just Got a couple of things to glue together. The rest of them we'll mock up before we glue anything more or much together. And it's pretty wicked stuff. You want to make sure you have some sort of a drop cloth or something around. I've got some piece of cardboard here to work with, so I'm not getting glue all over stuff I don't want it on. And it's wicked stuff. It sets up really fast. Got our gooseneck all set up. Hook it to the sink. Okay. Oh. Now the next thing is to get our spacing from the wall. I've measured downstairs. It's 53 inches to the wall here. Downstairs there's a floor joist at 51.5. So we want to back off from that. Well, so that means we want to back off from the wall about 5 or 6 inches, just to make sure that we're not trying to drill down through a floor joist when we're putting our hole down through for our pipe. So I've got my measurement. I'm going to move this sink out of the road for now. And from this measurement, I can get the measurement from the wall for the hole in the floor. So we've got the hole drilled in the cabinet, and I've plotted and measured for the hole in the floor, and in theory they should match up when everything's finished. So now we need our holes for our water supply. We've got all our holes drilled, and everything looks like it should line up pretty good. So now we'll put in our gooseneck and measure what we need for length of pipe to go down through the floor. We've got our holes all drilled and ready for our supply light pipe for the faucets. So we'll run that now, that way we can do all the plumbing at once when we get there. I'm using flexible plastic pipe. I've actually used this to plumb the whole house right from the beginning, and it's really slick to work with. No soldering and elbows and stuff like that. If you need to go around the corner, you just go around the corner. It's no problem at all. And so we'll run this down through the holes and feed it to where it's going to hook into our supply line downstairs. Another convenient feature with the plastic line is the fittings. These are simple fitting. They're kind of a sort of a type of compression fitting. They just slide on. You just push them on the end. Press down till you feel them go all the way. And these are a simple ball valve. So that turns the water off. I can get these lines hooked up and leave fitting the taps for later. I had to move the sink out of the way so I could fish the lines up through the bottom of the cabinet, which is one reason I haven't fastened the cabinet solid yet. But anyway, so we got our feed lines hooked up. Put our drain pipe back down in through there. There we are. And that is ready to hook the sink back on. For our toilet supply, I'm going to take the feed pipe that goes to the valve first and fasten it onto the ball valve. And I'm going to do this so that I have it out here where there's space to work. A lot simpler than trying to do it in there underneath the toilet tank. And one part I forgot to mention, there's these little metal inserts to go inside the plastic pipe, just so it maintains its shape and doesn't crush. Makes sure it's secure in the compression fitting. There we go. It's in tight. We can feed the extra down through the floor, and then that just tightens onto the toilet valve. As you can see, I've got the new waste pipes roughed out. They're all in place here, but they're not glued together yet. It's the moment of truth now. I'll take these down, and it's time to cut into the existing waste pipe, which is behind it here for our T, or Y in this case, I guess they call it, where our new waste pipe will hook on. And that's part of the job that you want to get through reasonably quickly, because opening up this pipe, you're opening up the house to the sewer gases that are going to come up from your septic tank. A lot of ammonia and methane and just nasty stink. So actually, I'm going to get a plastic bag and a rubber band to put around the pipe, so that once I get the first cut made, I can kind of have that sealed off a little bit while we're doing the next bit and getting things ready to go in place. Got my cuts marked on the pipe already, so moment of truth, here we go. It's time to test fit our last piece of pipe with the elbow that goes up to the toilet flange, because I could only get a close approximation without, having everything else solidly in place. So, fingers crossed. Well, I ran into a problem with this section with the elbow on it. The pipe ended up being too short, got pushed in far enough that I couldn't get it and glued in stuck. So I'm going to finish up this other line while I'm waiting for my wife to get home from town with the other elbow, another elbow for me. Probably a good idea to have a few extra pieces when you're doing this, because especially in those final fitting stages, it's pretty easy to screw something up. Since we're waiting on my wife to get home with the other elbow that I need for up there to bring this down, we'll tap into the water lines now. I've turned off the water supply here. With these brass tees, there's a little plastic insert inside there that you got to be careful, make sure you get it fed into the line when you start putting them together. And so we're ready to tap into the line now. And the great thing about the plastic stuff is you can cut it with any reasonably sharp knife. Drop, I'm sure. Here we are. I've got my elbow now, so we'll get that pipe hooked up. So the final step in our plumbing stage is to install our bathroom faucet and hook up the supply lines underneath the sink. So we'll get that going now. So that finishes the plumbing stage of our project, part 3 I guess. So we'll close out this video for now, and then we'll move on to part 4. So as always, thank you for watching. Hope you're enjoying the video. Hope you're enjoying the series, the bathroom build. And any questions questions or comments, you can leave those in the comment section below. And like, subscribe, share. Have a great day.